Please sit. Why don't you enjoy a cup of calming jasmine tea?
Hey everyone, Podrick here, also known as Magnetic Dragon. I've just been having such an amazing time lately, feeling so blessed, feeling so grateful. My words cannot convey the depth of transformation, transition that I'm going through, and that I feel like many of you are also going through. As the warmth of the sun returning from its southern declination melts the frost in the soil, evaporates the snow off the ground, through the increase in vibration, the change in heat, what was once solid and immovable as a block of ice becomes immaterial in light as the vapor rises up into the sky, condenses once more into clouds, and rains down onto the ground as something nourishing. In the same way, I feel the divine light inside of us, if we are open to it, is melting the snow off our hearts, off our souls. Self-limiting beliefs, destructive habits, negative thought patterns. The grace is there for change, and it melts away everything that holds us down, keeps us in a state of cold, frigid torpor, slow moving, not growing, death. This is like how the land is in winter. Nothing is growing, but it may seem dead. It's not really dead. It's sleeping. In the same way, I think many of us are feeling that awakening in our souls, an internal springtime awakening. Elysian spring, the season of rebirth, when solar solace stirs a sleeping world, and nature celebrates with buzzing mirth, I rise to see young dancing buds unfurled. So basically what I'm saying is, I think many of us are on the same page of feeling this amazing awakening inside of us. Something warming us up and allowing us to thaw and shake off the ice, shake off the cobwebs. And when you do, life really opens up to you. It's so true that everything in this life is based on perspective and based on our internal dialogue with ourselves and the beliefs we create with ourselves, the agreements we agree to, as Don Miguel Ruiz talks about in the Four Agreements. Our internal agreements of what we're good enough for, what we're not good enough for, what we settle for, or what we claim as our own power, what we deserve. We make our own life a heaven or a hell. It really is a game of belief and perspective. And it takes time to transition from self-limiting beliefs to self-affirming beliefs. There's so much to learn from nature, and we see the transition of the seasons, the transition of everything. Growth is gradual. Growth is gradual, and it takes time to build healthy habits. It takes time to reforge neural pathways, reclaim our dopamine that we've abused, our serotonin and neurotransmitters we've abused through technology, which really hijacks our consciousness, and modern chemicals, food, and there really is a war being waged on our consciousness and our health from many different angles. Just to name a few: technology, food, electromagnetism, education, the media, the economy, religion. We're here in a war for our souls. From our perspective, it's a war. From a greater perspective, it's an unfolding process of growth. can be greatly expressed in the Tai Chi symbol, the yin and yang symbol of Taoism, where you have the good and the bad, or the white and the black. They feed into each other and take away from each other. But also within the black, there's a speck of white. Within the bad, there's a seed for good, a transformation of good. And also within the bad, there is good, because what we consider to be bad and to be negative puts pressure on the good, pushes the good, and impels the good to grow and to change. In the same way that if a tree growing had no wind to blow it, when the tree got to a certain height, it would fall over because it had faced no strain on its path. In the same way, we need the bad and the distractions, the negative influences, to allow us to cultivate self-discipline, self-knowledge. As Hilton Hotema said, the path to the glorious life is paved with frugality, simplicity, and self-denial. What may seem to be the most difficult path up the mountain, a bumpy path, many obstacles and falling rocks. Sometimes it's very narrow and winding. We think we're going to fall to our death. In reality, the path of overcoming yourself, overcoming these many difficult obstacles, is the most direct path and the easiest path, the path of least resistance. Whatever your circumstances of life, the daily dramas and problems that arise in your life, this is your path of least resistance to spiritual soul growth. It's not that we have to get away from the problems of our life so we will have the space to grow. We have to learn to embrace the problems of our life and face them with simplicity, patience, compassion, and in this way we will grow. What seems to us, to our ego, to be the path of least resistance, of not changing, of allowing our habits to stay the same, never challenging our belief systems or trying to expand our horizon of the world, our outlook on the world. This actually is the path of the most resistance, by staying the same. Because one way or another, we're going to end up on the top of the mountain. It may take you this lifetime, or it may take you 100 lifetimes. So when you don't change, you're only delaying the inevitable. Today is day 53 in the galactic calendar, Red Magnetic Skywalker. And this is an important day because it's the beginning of the new white northern castle of crossing, which is a 52-day period that they call the castles in the galactic calendar, which for me have been very important and very significant. Whatever we attach significance to and feel in our heart has a deep sense of meaning, it does. Belief creates reality. And when my amazing friend sent me the galactic calendar almost 2 years ago, I knew right away it was very significant and very synchronistic and beautiful. And my dad, my mom felt the same way. We've shared the galactic calendar now for almost 2 years, in which I am a red magnetic dragon, which I resonate with. So I made it my Instagram name and my YouTube when I made these. And it hasn't steered me wrong following the galactic calendar. And about 1.5 years ago, it was the beginning of the it was the beginning of the Yellow Castle of Giving. And on that beginning of that day, it was Red Magnetic Earth Day. My dad and I decided to do a 52-day juice fast, which was one of the most powerful, transformative experiences of my life. There were times when it was hard, but doing it with somebody else, my dad, made it easier. And also the fact that we had committed to the galactic calendar, we knew we weren't going to give up on that, because when you enter into a contract with the universe, really your higher self, your true self, it's better not to break those kind of contracts, because you're only as good as your word to yourself. Because when you affirm to yourself something powerful, you need to have a steadfast word to back it up. When I say to myself, I'm going to do something, or I say to myself, I'm healthy, I'm patient, these words carry power for me, because I've cultivated an integrity to my word painfully for a long time, because for a very long time I wasn't true to my word. I'd say I was going to do something and I wouldn't do it. I would commit to myself that I was going to be healthier, be consistent with certain things, and I would fail time and time again. But every time you fail, it's an incredible opportunity to realign yourself with your ideal. Because every time you fail, you get a glimpse of the contrast between how you feel when you're living in alignment with your word, with what you know to be your highest truth, and how you feel when you allow the tide of old habits to pull you back into weakness, into despair, the depths of depravity. But that's the thing. As you build new habits, you affirm your word to yourself through doing what you say you're going to do. The tide starts to go the other way, because there's momentum. Your neural pathways change because of the way you feel when you do something healthy. The dopamine and the neurotransmitters you get when you take a cold shower, or when you exercise, or when you drink juice, they also carry weight and carry impact the same way the neurotransmitters do when you eat junk food or when you sit in front of a screen for many hours. So there's a give and take, and it's a transition. As time goes on, you feel in your heart what makes you feel really good. And it really is a battle between your old self and your new self. And you have to let your old self die to be born to the potential of the happiness and the peace of mind that you know that you deserve. So a year and a half ago, I did a 52-day juice fast. It was my second juice fast. Before that, I had done a 20-day juice fast, which was very powerful as well. One day I was just on YouTube watching videos, and John Rose came up on my YouTube, recommended to me. He started talking in his very passionate and animated way about what is the healthiest diet for humans. And I have to admit, I was a little put off by his demeanor, very overtone, and for some reason I judged a book by the cover, and I saw this muscular older man out in the sun. I thought, this guy's gonna say the healthiest diet for humans is eating meat, or something like that. But he went on and on and on, and I realized he really knew what he was talking about when it comes to human biology and physiology and all this kind of stuff. But he wasn't saying what's the healthiest diet for humans in this 20-minute video. He's just explaining all the mechanisms of the body and the lymph system and the circulatory system. But I was hooked. He has a very captivating delivery, and I knew he knew what he was talking about. So I binge watched John Rose videos, and he's talking about the hero's journey in juice fasting. And at first I did not want to hear it at all. Saying, oh, juice fasting, what is he talking about? I'm a vegetarian. I've been vegetarian for about 2 years at this point. And I did not want to hear that cooked food was bad, we weren't supposed to be eating starches and potatoes and stuff like that. We're only supposed to eat fruit and raw foods. I'm saying, what is this guy talking about? But he swayed me, and my 20-day juice fast was such a powerful experience. You face your mind, you face your body, you feel free, you feel light, you feel energized. You're spending your time juicing, investing in yourself, with your thoughts, doing something you know is healthy. Juice fasting is the cure. Juice fasting is the answer for everybody. Everybody should juice fast. It's amazing. Everybody needs to juice fast because the amount of waste we carry in our body is a heavy burden. So after my 20-day juice fast, part of me wanted to keep eating like John Rose, but the vast majority of me, my old ways, my old habits, did not. So I think for the one day after breaking my juice fast, I had a couple apples and then I had like a salad or something. But then I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. I went back eating fried chickpeas, potatoes, cheese and vegetables, ready-made meals, stuff like that. Amy's vegetarian burritos, stuff like that. A few months go by and I really wasn't eating the best. I was pretty lazy, so I wouldn't have anything prepared. I didn't want to spend the time cooking. I was just pop something in the microwave or fry up some chickpeas in the air fryer or mushrooms or just stuff like that. But I would have a little bit of salad or something, but overall I was pretty lazy and didn't put the time into myself. My mind was still very clouded and I was still in a haze. But I made an amazing friend and I saw she was eating a lot healthier than I was and putting effort into everything she made. And then she sent me the Galactic Calendar and it really inspired me to take charge of my health again like the way I knew I should and do another juice fast. And I wanted to involve my family and everything. I forgot to mention, but with the first juice fast, my grandmother, I think she did maybe 10 or 15 days juice fasting with me, which I was very happy about. So my dad and I did our 52-day juice fast while working. We were painting and we were doing all kinds of construction work and maintenance work, working hard, drinking juice. Some days were really hard, some days were very trying, emotionally, physically. We came through it all somehow, thanks to divine grace, the inner power we all possess, guiding forces of the universe, which bring us like an invisible tide through the course of our life. When you open yourself up to allow them to let you grow, they let you grow. They let you blossom. So we did our 52-day juice fast and broke it with an amazing raw meal. But we weren't really ready to be raw vegan. And we ate pretty good compared to how we ate before. Like I say, everything's a transition. We were eating a lot of potatoes, cooked beans, cooked chickpeas, kind of as the main staple of our diet. Eggs, and then we'd have greens, cooked vegetables like asparagus, mushrooms. I did another juice fast recently with my dad. Kind of a spur of the moment thing, but it turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life. This last juice fast, I had no idea how bad I needed it after my glyphosate poisoning, which for 6 months I was debilitated by this terrible poison, glyphosate, the most common pesticide in America, the most common contaminant in groundwater, glyphosate, Roundup. And I was in immense pain. I couldn't work. I could barely walk from my bed to the bathroom. I could do it very slowly, painfully. Some mornings I didn't eat I'd have so much pain in like my elbows or my shoulders, my knees. I couldn't even get out of bed myself. My dad would have to kind of pull me to the edge of the bed and help get me up. So it was glyphosate. And I believe this is because they say when glyphosate is in your system, in the making of proteins, somehow your body reads the glyphosate as a glycine. And so when it's making the various structures in the body out of protein, it kind of makes them messed up. So I think this is what happened. Is that while the glyphosate was in my system, it disrupted protein synthesis and this kind of thing, as well as damaging the blood-brain barrier, and as well as, I didn't know it at the time, constipating me. Well, I know it now because I did my 32-day juice fast, and I couldn't believe the amount of waste that came out of me. And yeah, so I was debilitated by the glyphosate for about 6 months, and then I started recovering, getting my strength back, eating, nourishing food of vegetables and salads, and I ate a lot of dates even throughout this time, and fruit, but not as the main staple of my diet, but I'd have like dates for breakfast every morning pretty much. And yeah, I needed this juice fast so badly after my glyphosate poisoning. So badly. If I hadn't done it, it would have only gotten worse and worse and worse in my system until, like 1 out of 2 Americans do, I probably would have developed cancer at some point in my life, because there was a huge buildup of dead cells in my body, dead tissue, as well as old uneliminated waste, but mostly I believe dead tissue, and God knows what from the environmental contaminants being purposely put out there, graphene and nanobots and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, started doing the juice fast, and thanks to some people on Instagram, George Beansy, Renzi, recommending psyllium husk and bentonite clay, which I hadn't taken on my other juice fasts, and yeah, that stuff really works. It's like a huge broom pushing through the colon, gets everything out. It was awesome. And yeah, this juice fast has been so amazing, so transformative. I think a lot of people who I've talked to ask me, well, when did the hunger pains go away on the juice fast? Aren't you craving food on the juice fast? Honestly, from my experience, doing a juice fast is pretty easy. You don't have hunger pains. I didn't anyway. I did 32 days of just juice, mostly orange juice mixed with lemon, some cantaloupe, a little bit of apple, a little bit of pear. I would have a lot of orange juice, and then I would have a lot of carrot and beet juice with ginger. And near the end, I started having green juice. I didn't have green juice for a lot of it. I know green juice is very healthy. And when you drink enough juice, you don't get hungry. And when you really settle into the juice fasting and drinking the juice, you don't really think about food, and you don't get hungry. If you don't drink enough juice, you'll start to feel low energy, and then that's a signal to you need to drink more juice. But my stomach wasn't rumbling, I wasn't, craving different kinds of things like that. Except for the 31st day. The 31st day, I was kind of running low on juice, and in the galactic calendar, it was Blue Overtone Monkey Day, which is my opposite. The opposite of Red Dragon is Blue Monkey, and Overtone is I think it's kind of like the opposite of Magnetic, kind of clashes by being very, very overt and very amplified instead of more subdued and reticent. And on this day, yeah, I was hungry at nighttime and crazy dreams and all kinds of stuff. But the next day, my dad had actually had a similar night as I had, being very hungry. We were in different places, but he had a really tough night on the juice fast. He said he was so hungry and all this kind of stuff. But the next day, we were like he was like, "Will we break the fast?" And I said, "No, we'll just finish off this one day." So we finished off 32 days. Then the next day we broke it with a beautiful salad and stuff before going to work, and had a lot of dates that day and salad. So today is 53 days since I've had a cooked meal. I had 32 days juice fasting. Then I went back and ate the most nourishing, delicious, totally scrumptious and satisfying raw food for 13 days. And then I did a water fast for 2.5 days. And now for the past 10 or 15 days, I've been having just the most amazing time having raw foods. For some reason, I don't know why, I've never enjoyed food so much in my life as I have the raw food. Maybe it's after the juice fast and my microbiome adapting. Maybe it's just this is the natural diet of humans and I'm just so ready for it. But it's not that I'm thinking about food during the whole day, but then when I sit down to have my big salad or two, man, I'm like in heaven. And so I've been mostly eating either one big fruit meal and 2 big salads, or 2 big fruit meals and 1 big salad. And my fruit has mostly been dates. I love dates. And some bananas. And I've either just been eating them with a cup of hot cacao, or I've been mixing in my blender dates and the bananas and the cacao. And it's so delicious, chocolatey smoothie. And then for my savory meals, I've been having huge salads with greens, so many sprouts, mostly sprouted buckwheat, sprouted lentils, sprouted mung beans. And the past couple days from the store, I got sprouted broccoli seeds, pea shoots, these kind of things. They're the most nourishing food, I believe, probably on the earth. Sprouts. Amino acids, enzymes, proteins, phytonutrients, all these things that the human body needs to thrive are in sprouts in abundance. So in the salad, I'll have greens, sprouts, I like olives, avocado, some like small peppers, sweet peppers, maybe cucumber, something like that. And I've been topping it with this dressing that I got from Raw Food Romance, Lissa from Raw Food Romance. And it's the most delicious dressing ever. And the base of it is about 5 dates, the juice of a lemon, and 1 clove of garlic. And I've been adding to that like some cumin and some turmeric and hemp seeds. I've been having a lot of hemp seeds. And it's so delicious. Before, my favorite foods for taste-wise would be like, pizza or crispy potatoes and some kind of like hummus or sauce or falafels, stuff like that for taste-wise. But now,
I'm enjoying these raw salads so much more than I've ever enjoyed any amount of food in my life. I'm able to eat so much more.
my whole life when I was in high school, middle school, I was trying to gain weight, gain muscle because I was working out a lot, but didn't really gain a lot of weight. But I would be eating like 4 eggs for breakfast, or 5, and a bowl of oatmeal. Then go to school and I'd have like 2 bananas and 2 apples. And then for lunch, I'd eat as much as I possibly could in that period of time. Pasta with cheese on it, cooked vegetables, meat. Back when I ate meat until I was 16, I stopped eating meat. And basically, I would eat as much as I possibly could of animal products and, plant protein and beans and all this kind of stuff. But it just wasn't really working for me. When I was 15 and I joined football, we all lined up and we were weighed and stuff like that. And I was 125 pounds. I was the lightest kid on the team. That was when I was 15. And when I'm 18 and I'm wrestling, I was 132 pounds. So in those 4 years, I only gained, 6 or 7 pounds, even though I was working out all the time and eating as much as I possibly could, and drinking muscle milks and whey protein shakes and Gatorade protein bars, copious amounts of eggs, sometimes even raw eggs, stuff like that. But for whatever reason, it just didn't work for me to really gain weight or gain muscle. I gained some muscle and I got stronger and all that, but I didn't really gain a lot of mass or weight. But now, after cleaning out my gut, cleaning out my colon with the juice fasts, I would say probably about at least 100 days of juice fasting, probably more like 125 days of juice fasting I've done in the past 2 years. And I'm speaking from a place of experience. Even if you're slim, even if you don't have a lot of fat in your body, you're athletic or lean, but especially if you're, a little bit of overweight or you have a gut that you want to lose, you need to do a juice fast. Even the most jacked athlete, you need to do a juice fast. You're not going to lose your muscles. You're not going to lose your strength. For women, you're not going to lose your feminine curves. You're not going to lose anything that your body needs. You're going to lose a copious amount of unholy crap from your colon that you don't need, that's slowing all your bodily functions. You're going to lose a bunch of acidic waste in your lymph system that backs up into your cells and causes disease. You're going to lose an unhealthy relationship with food where you look for food for comfort. You're going to lose hunger, the sensation of hunger in your stomach that makes you feel uncomfortable and is a tremendous burden to the mind. You're only going to lose things that hold you down. You're not going to lose anything you need on a juice fast. Juice fasting is the cure. And after the juice fast, eat nourishing, delicious food. Like I said, for me right now, I've been eating a lot of dates and then huge salads, a lot of sprouts. I'm going to show just a day of what I ate on this day on Chronometer to show you all the calories I got from it, as well as the vitamins and minerals, amino acids and everything. And a lot of people don't subscribe totally to calories and this kind of nutrition. I've read Man's Higher Consciousness, and Hilton Otema is big on the idea that food doesn't build the body, it just stimulates the body and all this kind of stuff. And I think there's truth in that, especially the nutritional labels don't tell the whole story. The calories don't tell the whole story, because if a certain amount of food has a lot of calories, for instance, a steak or something, that may be true that that amount of calories is in the steak, but your body is going to expend a certain amount of energy to break that down into the amino acids, to break the complex protein down into its constituent parts, into something useful, as well as the energy it takes the body to clear out the toxic waste from the putrefying meat, the deadly toxins it creates in the gut. So the calories doesn't tell the whole story. Whereas if you look at a packet of dates or something like that, it'll say 3 dates is 120 calories, 0 grams of protein. Well, the 120 calories in those 3 dates, you might get more out of that than 500 calories from a piece of steak, because it doesn't take as much energy for your body to digest the dates. As well as, it says 0 grams of protein, so a lot of people would think, oh, you can't build any muscle just on this. But it has the amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein, as well as the cell salts, the 12 essential cell salts. I believe dates have more of them than any other food that I've seen. So the nutritional labels don't tell the whole story. But I don't think it's good to be dogmatic in either way. Some people say, we don't eat any calories and we're going to be breatharian and everything, which I think is a lofty goal and a beautiful thing, but we need to transition to be there. You can't just go there. The average person can't just stop eating and be breatharian.
So that's basically all I wanted to say. I didn't think I had anything to say.
I was just thinking all these beautiful people on Instagram, I love to communicate with them. but I haven't been on technology. I figured I would make some kind of video to update you guys as to what's been going on with me, in case you were wondering, and just to keep the connection going, because you guys don't know how much you mean to me, all of you. I wrote down in my notebook the other day, as it just came to me, all the names of different people I've interacted with and got beautiful things out of. I wrote down must have been 200 names. All you beautiful people who I message and who comment, I comment on your stuff. And even if we've never exchanged any kind of words, we see each other and we inspire each other. We're all coming from the same source. We're all going to the same destination. If our paths cross, it's a beautiful thing, even though they might never cross again. But we never come out of it the same person we were before we crossed. So yeah, I've been reading a lot, getting a lot out of these beautiful books from my past that I read before when I was younger, revisiting them and seeing that the old wisdom rings true. And I would advise anybody, if you feel like you're ready to get rid of your cell phone, your smartphone, go do it, because I think it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. And I say that about many things, but everything comes together. You can't just identify one thing. But since I've got rid of my phone, my mind and my free time have been so abundant. The thoughts that flow to me, the profound dreams I've been having, being able to read and meditate and work out, play music. I've just had so much more time to do all those simple, beautiful things that before I didn't have the time for because I would get distracted. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say today. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being the powerful, beautiful, healing channel for God's love in this world, for universal growth, abundance, as we explore the shared terrain of our journey, seeing how deep, how profound, and how beautiful it really is, more than our limited, conditioned minds would ever dare us to dream. It gets deeper and deeper the more you look. Never be afraid of finding the bottom of the well of beauty, of truth, of depth, because we will never get to the bottom of it. Because the more we search, the more we dig deep, the deeper it goes. The healthier we get, the more free our mind gets, the more compassionate we get for others, the more life gives to us. The more we give, the more we're given. It never stops. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for being such an inspiration to me. Thank you for being such a channel for enlightenment and beautiful information, empowering content for me. I love you. Let's go! Woo!